Welcome to Design Review, the podcast for engineering your life. I'm Robert Haynes, founder of Engineering Your Life, and today I have a special guest. Today I am joined by Jocelyn Nowak. Actually, I didn't ask you how to pronounce your last name. How do I pronounce your last name?
Nowak, like no walk, run.
Nowak. Okay, great. This is like the third time I haven't asked somebody how to pronounce the name, so I'm a little embarrassed, but that's okay. We got that one out of the way. So Jocelyn is someone who exemplifies the kind of human I want to support with my work. So Jocelyn brings nearly 2 decades of experience in healthcare and health technology, driving individual and team empowerment. She's also a teacher and mentor for people seeking self-healing through metaphysics and practices such as Reiki, yoga, and herbalism. I met Jocelyn through the amazing Becoming the Bridge entrepreneurial community, and I've gotten to know her as her jungian coach. I've seen her deep connection to self and to source, and we've touched on her priority for helping others to navigate their own connection, something I look forward to digging into deeper during this conversation. Jocelyn's values of freedom, peace, and prosperity really align with my mission for engineering your life, and it's a pleasure to welcome her on Design Review. Jocelyn, welcome.
Thanks, Robert. That was so nice. I was like eating every word. I was like, what is he going to say about me? And it was like, oh my God, that was so...
Did I get it? Did I
yes.
get it?
I'm like, that's now my elevator pitch for myself. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm happy to send that to you. We've known each other for a bit, but one of the things that, as we were talking just prior to the recording, is we've talked about coaching things. We haven't talked in depth about what you do in life, which I find actually rather fascinating. And I'm looking forward to learning a whole bunch during this program. Is there anything you want to have an intro that I did not cover? Because we'll talk about your path and your mission and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, but yeah.
Did I hit the highlights you'd want people to know?
I mean, honestly, it's funny because if anything, I'm like, it's not that complex, but it's also like, it touches so many areas. And what kept coming to me is just be. And so I'm excited to kind of emanate out that message and that beingness on this podcast with you.
Well, great. Well, that's the perfect setup. And we have done zero upfront prep other than the bio, which is ideal for this situation. So as I explained briefly prior, the Design Review podcast, we talk about a project, a passion, or a purpose that somebody has, something they're striving towards and want to. And you have multiple facets of your helping others. And I believe that's what we're going to talk about, right?
100%.
Okay. And feel free to bring up examples, and because you're in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, and that's I think part of my beingness and my mission is living embodiment of what it is to be human, which means like octopi almost. We can get our hands on a lot of things. So I'm excited because I've never had to articulate what I do, because it is just beingness. And Eckhart Tolle talks about the power of now, presence, all of those components. And yeah. I feel like all of my projects come away from that.
And that's fair. And part of what we're going to talk about is the journey that got you there. So the first question I ask every guest is that if we treat the subject matter of people empowerment, is that a good way to phrase it?
Spot on, man. People empowerment, beingness. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, and I mean, this strikes me because my mission in life, which gets clearer and clearer as I go, is to support the people that support and empower other people. And which is why, like I said, you exemplify that. It's like you're a good example of the kind of people I'm looking to support, because you're going to go out and ripple out and help people. And I know the people you help people. Mm-hmm. The gift that just keeps on giving. So if we look at that as the project or the purpose or whatever, the first question I ask is what's the why? What is the problem that is the solution for? And I'm going to give you free rein to answer that however you would like. And it might be, some people have answered it is why they're doing that but I'm a little bit interested if we treated that as, we're going to talk about people empowerment. It's like, well, why does that matter?
Yeah.
How's that?
I think that's a huge question and an excellent way to frame a why. People empowerment permeates PPP. People empowerment permeates every one of my projects, to be honest. Peaceful Prosperity Studio is where I spend time and energy teaching Reiki. There's my consulting work in healthcare technology, which is super important. You've got to have people who are focused on beingness and empowerment and embodiment in the space of healthcare technology, or else, we're going to be developing things that don't have the human at the center of their development. So it's funny because if I had to say what I do, it's always funny. People ask me, they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Whatever I want." I don't think beyond the present moment very often. You got to push me to be like, "Well, what do you actually do?" It's like, well, I just focus on peace and prosperity in beingness. So on a team, I might come in and help balance the energies through different operational workflows, new processes. On my latest venture, Surgo Health, I'm helping them grow by building a business development team from the ground up. And that's something I really love to do for good technology companies. It's like, how can we help in getting the world to be more embodied and empowered by having greater access to healthcare and better curated healthcare? Of course, I'm going to help that project, but I'm also going to work on this Reiki retreat, and I'll also stop in on a friend's panel. I'll make a discussion worth having around non-duality that really helps explain it for anyone in a way where they can apply it to their own beingness and cultivate that resonance, one of my favorite words, and of course I walk it up, resonance of peace and prosperity for themselves, such that it pushes outwards, emanates outwards. I feel like that's my mission and purpose, is to really cultivate joy.
That works. And, and the world needs it. And I find it very, very interesting, given that I also have my tentacles in deep technology and deep spirituality and deep psychology. Like, yeah, I go deep in lots of different areas. And so as you're talking about, peace and prosperity, and at the same time, in the same sentence, you're talking about healthcare technology, just to help ground people, like, what kinds of technology are you talking about when you use that? Is this IT technology? Is this hardware, software? Is this like systems? Tell me more about that. Because like I said, we haven't talked about this yet.
No, this is really cool because honestly, over the span of the last 2 decades, I have touched every type of technology there is, really. The first company I was at right out of college, I had a degree in exercise science, kind of that masculine perspective on the body, building muscular strength, 3-dimensional beingness. I got a lot of that practice when I was in college. Went into the Bay Area, followed a boy, which was naughty, but live and learn. It was part of the journey.
we all have our story, my friend.
We've all been chased or chased in a way that probably wasn't beneficial in the past. And I don't regret a single thing. I'm here now. But I always joke, if you're in the Bay Area long enough, you kind of get sucked into technology in some way, shape, or form, because there's just such innovation in that space in San Francisco Bay Area. I lived in San Jose for a while. I just spent some time in East Bay as well. And it's like the energy there, the nature there, everything, it just gets you to think about the world in a very different way that is interconnected and powerful. So I really love the Bay Area for that. And I was there long enough that after working at a scoliosis clinic, doing therapy a little bit, but getting my hands on the business side, helping out with lead cultivation, having patients come in, it really made me aware of my innate business acumen that can help guide and shepherd groups towards greater prosperity. So I did it there about 4.5 years, and then I got sucked into the machine of venture capital funded healthcare technology companies. And in the past, just about a decade, I have been inside 15 different health tech companies, everything from sensor to software to chatbot technology. I did take a brief break and worked on a democratically moderated free speech debate platform, which was very grounded and human. And it was a necessary break after being in the technology space, I think, to ground back into the human side. But coming back into healthcare technology, it's really spanned everything. And where I am now is on the artificially intelligent software side. Helping out a really powerful public benefit company that's had huge impact on a global scale and is looking to kind of bring some meaningful operations here to the United States. So I'm going to help out with that. So pretty cool stuff, man. You got the lay of the land. I have a million stories I could tell.
And we will dive into about 150,000 of them, I think. No, I really like that. And, well, as you know, like I don't know, we haven't talked about my background much either, but like, I was a mechanical engineer by degree.
Sure.
But I got involved in all parts of that degree program. I loved all of it. So fluid mechanics and statics and dynamics and machine dynamics and modeling and simulation. And, I got involved in all the stuff and ended up doing a lot of metrology development and control system development.
Wow.
And did a lot of systems work. So I was doing mechanical and software and electrical system stuff at very, very high levels of performance. And so I loved doing all of that. I spent 37 years doing all those things.
Oh my God.
It's funny, like we haven't gotten into that either, but somehow people and the systems of people that involve interfaces of people became clearly the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
And my philosophy of systems is systems don't fail at the component level, they fail at interfaces.
Okay. Yeah.
And I find that from a sociological standpoint, the same thing might apply. Yeah. So I had no fear that we were going to end up seeing eye to eye on these things that we'd never even talked about. But that's why that's my background. So I really have a lot of empathy and appreciation. Now I would say that, your background degree training isn't the natural start to get into all of the deep technical stuff.
Yeah.
So have you always been like a techie kind of person?
Oh, not even remotely, Robert. For anyone listening, if you could see my face, I was not a technical human. But honestly, I'm going to be totally frank with you. It was because I found technical classes very boring and reductive. And
Okay.
I loved chemistry, but I got bored after 2 weeks because I was like, okay, what next? Like, what are we building? What are we doing? And we spent so much, and I know I should spend more time on theory. I should spend more time kind of balancing the books in that direction. But I get it so quickly that it was never something fun to like study beyond like consciousness and metaphysics. And yes, I do tarot, and yes, I love astrology. And so like there are some components of the fringe of human abstraction when it comes to technical that I enjoy. But when it comes to machine work, like I've never had interest other than maybe watching a documentary or something cool, watching one of those old food shows where they show kind of how the food is made. Now nobody wants to watch them because they're disgusting.
Fair.
But in the past, I enjoyed seeing like farming and agriculture. I really enjoy that, but it's more as a bystander and definitely not a participant. So never thought I'd be in technology. And that's why I look at it really as like Source put me in the Bay Area and put me around these minds that are so incredible in that space. I've got some great mentors that really kind of shepherded the experience for me. So I was able to remain that kind of human advocate in the center of technology development that we both recognized is so important.
Yeah. And I can't say enough. The world needs that. We can have, and I spent a lot of my life on my left brain side, but I was never falling over on that side because I always had like art and music and dance and other, I always had a lot of a balanced experience, but I could dive into differential equations like nobody's business. And I would love it. Oh man, when I discovered spreadsheets, it was 1986 and I'm like, where have you been all my life?
I'm just imagining you singing it. Where have you been?
I just about sang. It was Lotus 1, 2, 3, and by current standards, it was pretty hokey. But meanwhile, the idea that I could set up this system of dependent equations and solve it was like, this is amazing because I'd been doing it by hand prior to that.
I took advantage of it. I was on Mario typing as a kid. Like I already was in the like kind of UX world that was. Were you
a gifted student? Because you strike me as somebody whose brain works at that speed.
Yes, in that I was aware of that, but there were no like special changes to my life because of it. We moved right when those kind of programs started, so it's like I reset. Yeah,
maybe just as well because I mean sometimes. Those programs are designed to help.
Yeah. But they separate you further. And honestly, I almost said, Robert, I'm going to be totally honest. I almost said they put me with Gen Pop, which is so messed up, but it's like, it was a public school. It was full on. Didn't matter who you were or where you were from. The town was so small that it didn't matter, you know? And it's like the town we were in before was just big enough where like they had a separate, place that sounded cool. Like you got to play more games and do stuff. So I was always jealous as a 7-year-old. But now I'm like, no, life happens the way it's supposed to, man. And we moved right when I was going to start earning Beanie Babies at school. It was going to be awesome. You know, you regret the most impractical components. But yeah, I qualified, I guess. But I think that most people, I think a lot of that is nurture. And my parents were very supportive of like inquisitive thinking. Which is something that's, yeah, you know, talk about being human. Curiosity is like a cornerstone to our development and beingness. Yeah.
Well, and you've certainly have explored it at a level that is not the mainstream. And I appreciate your curiosity. In fact, it's shown up a lot as we've, I'm already squirreling my way into our coaching. That's gonna, we'll find our way back to the path.
Oh no, I'm here for it. Whatever you say here.
We will eventually get to talking about what your work looks like. But the curiosity, I'm going to go down this path because it showed up, you know? So one of the things that's been fascinating to me is the level of curiosity and imagination and just exploration that you've done while we've been coaching.
Sure.
And you dug into it sooner and deeper than I would normally expect somebody to be ready for. And yet it's been kind of like, yeah, give me more. But I, you know, we've been diving in, you know, into the unconscious. We did some shadow exploration to find out, you know, what's in the way and what are the behaviors that are, you know, ego, shadow, and then archetypes. And I've been really enjoying, I don't give you anything other than questions.
Yeah. It's like Socratic in that way. It's like, it just goes back and forth. And honestly, it's been so profound because when I first joined, we know Jocelyn day one was like, I want more discipline in my spiritual practice. That's literally what my goal was.
You were very, very explicit. That's what you wanted to.
Well, you know, and to be honest, other times I'd done coaching, I hadn't been. And so what we've done a lot together is that experimentation of all or nothing that like I tend towards with, you know, I either think something is yes or no. Gray area can be challenging. I think that's the truth with most humans, but especially in this kind of work where you have to look at yourself so deeply. So it's just been, I mean, it's been so easy and fun and clear, like that it's almost hard to quantify the value because it impacts you on every level of your life. Like my sleep is better. I'm more present in my body and joyful. And there's a state of beingness that I've been able to cultivate and maintain that keeps me closest to myself, my authentic self and my beingness. So thank you, man. And it feels like almost a childlike, curious energy. And I've heard this from some of my spiritual teachers where one of them said he was up in the mountains outside of India and had met saints and they all act like children. And it's like, because childlike beingness of deep creation, exploration, curiosity, you're able to maintain that, but have the physical and mental capacity of a fully developed human body. Oh my gosh, we can change the world like that. And that's why I'm into technology. Like there's parts of me that's like, oh, I'd rather be in nature. And I think that's where the imagination comes from. As a kid, we went out at sunrise and came back at sunset. Not every day. That's a little dramatic. But, you know, it's like there was definitely, especially in the summer, an ethos of TV is off. You can do whatever you want. If you really need to be in the AC, it's 97 degrees and like a sauna outside. Okay, take a break. But my dad would even come in and be like, you okay? Like, make sure, like, do you want to go outside? Do you want to enjoy this beautiful day? And it was actually empowering and liberating to be in that environment growing up. And that's probably why peace, prosperity, beingness is so important to me, is I experienced it for the majority of my time as a kid.
Yeah, it's I'm very appreciative of the fact that you got that level of support.
Yeah, man.
Especially given, you know, the level of creativity and energy that you brought to the picture. Not everybody gets that. Oh. You know, somebody get like, you know, just be quiet and don't be noticed for a while can sometimes be the response.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come back to more coaching stuff because
Yeah.
you're, well, in addition to having experienced my coaching, you've experienced other coaching too.
Yes.
And you know, in fact, that was really, really helpful that you had a background of like what had gotten you this far.
Yes.
But you were also very clear that's not, I mean, you were interested in diving into a deeper new experience, and it's been a new experience.
Yeah, definitely. No, I was thinking about that with like engineering your life, like that concept, and even a design review. You've given language to the Buddhist idea of observing reality that is so relatable and easy to implement. And it's like I've had some incredibly powerful coaches, like who, I mean, shifted reality, you know, just like this, you know. It's like it's hard to quantify, just like, you know, we need an hour and a half on a podcast to even consider diving into one subject. So I think for me, what's most powerful about your coaching style relative to other coaches that I've seen in the past is the immediate application that I feel. I don't have to be in a triggered environment in order to apply the work we do.
Yeah.
And I also feel the impact on a subconscious level immediately. I mean, honestly, 2 weeks ago, I had a call with you and it was a long day, and I knew the astrology, so I was riding it. I was at the hot springs. I was like, it's going to be a rough one. So I was creating that environment, which is part of the work we do too, is making sure that that is a conscious choice. In that environment, I had a headache. I had 4 meetings. I was back to back on digital calls. And here I am at a mineral hot spring. I hadn't even been in the hot spring yet. And I had such a bad headache, I didn't think I was going to even go in the hot spring. We had a 40-minute call. And by the time we were done, my headache was gone. And I did end up sleeping 12 hours and going to the hot spring in the morning. But you shifted my dynamic in a moment just by having that time together. But the work we do at a subconscious level, I've never been able to maintain the resonance of myself and my authentic beingness for so long in any environment since we started working together. And yeah, I don't know what you've noticed, Coach, but
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's part of what I've noticed is because I mean, you came in really kind of adamant, intense, and to some extent bouncing off the walls. And we spent a couple months just helping you ground.
Yeah.
But you know, we're having a lot of fun in this conversation, but one of the things that I've noticed is like how calm you are and how able you are to calm yourself in some very challenging circumstances. And that wasn't when things started. It wasn't like that. It was like, you know, and we'd come in and we'd have to like, okay, let's just kind of take a breath for 10 minutes because it was a very stimulating world out there. And now it's like, there's a lot of peace, a lot more. And it's inherent. And also there's a level of patience with life as it's showing up.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I need to go fix this now.
Yeah.
And as a result, you're really, really present in the world. And it's wonderful to witness that. And yeah, so, I mean, it is hard to explain. We're using a lot of kind of fluffy language to do that. But I will say that's been really, really noticeable.
Well, and thank you, first of all. This fly is like, you need to pay attention to me. It's like, bro, get off my ear. Talk about being present. I think that coming in, I wasn't even consciously aware of how ungrounded I was. I knew it on a physical level. Like, yeah. I could feel it in my body. And I receive in the moment such joy from helping people that I lost aspects of my grounded self or disconnected from aspects of my grounded self that have been so easy to connect with now. I mean, like, even right now, it's like my energy at the beginning of the sentence to now, it's like I brought it down. And it's like, and I didn't have to, like, it wasn't a triggered state. It wasn't anything. And one of the reflection I had as you were speaking there was it's so clear how stressful my environments have been in the past now. But when I first started working with you, I wasn't even consciously aware of what I was choosing. And there had been signposts, you know, like synchronicities, other coaches who had given me one word here and one word there that woke up or made apparent an aspect of my beingness. But the work with you has been so consistent and grounded. And maybe it's the masculine energy of like, not only are you masculine embodied, in reality, you've done 37 years of engineering
Yeah.
every capacity, which requires a very, and the fact that you got so stoked over Excels, I'm like, dude,
Well, so
I get it. Now I get it. Like now, especially with the way LLMs are and the way that artificial intelligence or pseudo intelligence has kind of moved into our reality, it's like, well, this is how we can really connect in a totally different way and help each other.
yeah,
And that's the help support component of what I embody. And
yeah.
what I do, it's like if you talk to me in 6 months, I might have incredible connections in the US and have a client here and a client there, or maybe I'm on stage at TEDx, you know, something wild can
I
happen.
could see that. Yeah.
Well, but it also could be I'm back home and, you know, found the love of my life and have a baby. Who knows,
Well,
Robert? Any direction. And
and
I'm
that's
so, yeah, here for whatever happens. Yeah.
yeah, and well, and that acceptance is also something that's shown up.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's that's part of where the peace is, because peace doesn't come from life just working exactly the way you want it to. That's not actual peace.
No.
That's absence of temporary conflict.
Yeah.
But peace comes from being okay with whatever happens, and you've definitely been embodying that in really great ways.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Dude, the
let's,
work we've done around emotions, because I love feeling feelings in the moment. Like being a human, count me in. It's eating a sandwich, crying, dancing. One of the reasons I came to this, I feel ungrounded almost. I was dancing for like an hour before this, and it's like I wanted to ground, so I was trying to dance, and it was just making me more hype. So it's like, ooh, the body does what she wants. But no, it's been a lot easier to recognize my emotional state, and be empowered enough to respond to it,
yeah.
given the consistency and quality of the work we've been doing together.
Well, and yeah, it's, my job as I see it is I create the container that you then work inside of. The work's yours. I do my best to show up and see your truth. But then the rest of the work is what you're doing inside of it. And some of what I need to do is let you kind of bounce around if you need to. But what's been really fascinating is you're demonstrating it in this conversation, is that you're doing a lot of your own self-regulation.
Sure.
I'm just hanging out while you like find your way into this grounded space.
I'm like an amoeba just coming in like, and then I gotta like ground down. And it's like, I mean, that's reality, man. And it's so fun. It could be overstimulating. I mean, you used the word stimulating, and it wasn't stressful. It was stimulating, because it's not like the word stress has such negative charge behind it in some ways, when the reality is stress could be a rubber band stretching. You know, it's a
Sure.
very literal thing. But it's challenging to admit sometimes that your environment is stressful, especially if it's like people you love, or in a home you own, or something that feels like you're attached to it. And that's part of the acceptance piece that feels so clear, is being aware enough to look at it and know that one of the only things we know is true is everything is temporary. Change is the only constant. So if that's the truth, like, just sit in it, you know, and be aware, allow, you know, when you're holding on to it to look at it, sometimes it hurts. It's like being unattached in the observation is just as important as being unattached to the outcome. Yeah.
And it's a continual practice as we share back and forth as we go. Well, as much as I would love to spend the entire time just talking about what coaching has been like, because it's nice to have this chat, we'll get back to so what does it look like? And you may give a couple examples of what, the personal empowerment world is, what you're doing for people. And you've given some descriptions of it, but so we talked about the why, then we kind of like went off on a little journey. And so, if we want to look at your body of work, and you talked about specifically helping in the health technology development. Are there other aspects of your work, perhaps your Reiki practice or whatever? What does that look like? What's the embodiment of your mission work showing up like right now?
Well, it comes from pure presence. I mean, we've talked about presence a lot, and I feel all of the projects I work on, technology related, Reiki related, yoga related, whatever it is, they all come from what I believe is my magnetic monopole, like the center point of my beingness and what I can bring value to and what balances and allows me to experience more joy. So it's like I only cultivate work environments where I know what I'm producing through my creative work, either one-on-one with clients, on teams, building things, or doing hands-on healing with Reiki. Whatever it is, there's this undertone of service and support to greater health and vitality. And
Okay.
so, yeah, the projects I do for healthcare technology, they're all related to interconnecting source to reality through technology, which is just one of many tools. So, yeah, vitality, joy, those are my kind of, what would you call them? Signposts, where it's like when you're out of vitality, when you're out of joy, that's when I know I'm out of integrity with myself.
Okay.
And maintaining self-integrity is how I find these projects that are so diverse and engaging. Yeah.
And you had shared with me some writings of one of your clients.
Sure.
It was like really impressive stuff. I had to like work really to catch up with the level of intellectual rigor that was shared by that. And so it's like, it's not often that I'm like, whoa, okay, let's see if I can like
I don't want him to hear this. His ego's already big enough. No, I love him and I love the work we do together. It's so fun. But yeah, I know what you're talking about too.
Well, one of the things that I realized in the process of doing this work, and the same thing for my coaches,
Sure.
they don't need to know my work.
Yep.
I have my own Jungian coach. She was in my cohort.
Yeah.
And, and she has her own world and things that she does extraordinarily well, but she does not need to know what my work is.
Yep.
She holds the space for me to do that work on myself.
Yep.
And so as, the old day where like a manager had to be the expert in what his people did. Yeah, that's just hogwash.
Yep.
And so the fact that I'm able to witness that, even though it was a little intimidating, it was also like, well, these are people.
Yep.
And what I'm doing with my coaches, what I do in support of my clients, what you're doing with support of your clients, it's just the act of supporting somebody being human.
Exactly. I mean, that's such a beautiful, I think one of the challenges for a lot of people in technology who are building new things is feeling so isolated on the journey, because you're trying to bring something new to market and you're trying to change the world. And, I like working with founders that want to change the world. There's stuff you can build that doesn't require, such big kind of pushes. But, if you want to cultivate peace and prosperity, you have to be bold. So I've worked with a lot of intellectually powerful beings in my reality. And I think similar to your experience of holding space, it's about holding the operating cadence and the space to help them manifest their dreams, really, as it relates to changing the world positively. So I had never thought about that, but it's kind of funny out of context. It's like I send this like borderline dissertation to this entrepreneur I haven't talked in weeks, if not months, and I just drop in this thing that to me, I was just sitting by the river. Where was I? It was just south of Austin. It was beautiful. So it's like, I was just absorbing knowledge, which is so fun, knowledge creation and being in it, which is part of the coaching experience too. I mean, when someone holds space that well for you and in such a grounded way, the knowledge is of self, which is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, which is why I always invest in coaching. I have at least, I don't know if I'd ever do more than one coach at a time, because I feel like it would confuse the process for myself. But that's just me. I don't know. I don't know if I can handle it. But
That's interesting, and maybe that's something I could go off on that tangent because I got like 6.
Okay.
So,
No wonder you're so freaking grounded.
well, well, I also have this interesting ADHD brain that just loves to chase squirrels.
Sure.
And has this fountain of creativity. And what's funny is like we haven't even talked about that stuff either. We've been just really, I'm so proud of us that we've been on task.
Oh yeah, I'm so good with this stuff. Yeah.
But meanwhile, yeah, there's a million things that we can share about that. Yeah, but it's a debate. It is a very personal thing to realize what you need at what time, how you're going to get it, tailor the relationship so that it does that. I don't intend to keep this many coaches indefinitely, but I'm on an extremely steep growth curve right now.
Yeah.
And it's paying off handsomely. But yeah, at some point, I will, wind some of these relationships down or like put them on pause and come back, and dive in. But meanwhile, yeah, I had never had a coach.
Yeah.
Prior to, well, I'd had therapists.
Sure.
Which is different.
Sure, training wise.
But yeah, prior to 3 years ago, I'd never had a coach. So it's been a very new experience for me.
You dove in.
Well, I mean, all right. Maybe I'm lying about that because like I had a ballroom dance instructor that was a coach.
Okay, I thought when you said 6 coaches, I'm like, one of them's going to be a tennis coach. No, just kidding. Does that count?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's knowledge, though. It's knowledge.
Well, and one of the things that was funny about that, man, we are getting way off the path here. But what I realized when because I studied with one coach for 20 years in ballroom dance. She's a master coach of high-level coaches of high-level people. So I always get myself involved in people that are at the top of the game.
Sure.
But what I realized while I was being coached by her in, international standard ballroom, tail suits and ball gowns and waltz, tango, foxtrot, quick step and Viennese waltz, is that whatever we were working on in coaching of my dancing at that time was what I was working on in my life with my other people.
Of course.
It was always.
Of course. I mean, it's like the reflection of the emotional undertone of reality comes out through the technical of dance. I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it was amazing. And, my fear of conflict got in the way all the time. But that's been a long, very pervasive thing. My next newsletter is going to talk about that at great length. Meanwhile, on your journey to this, the calling that you're pursuing, that you're doing all of the personal empowerment stuff, what's gone well and or both, what has been a learning experience? I'll put it nicely.
Well, it's funny because I think that one of the things you're known for is boundary work, and the boundary component is something that I had to learn both with clients and myself. I really think it was myself first when I think of when I was, 23 years old, working 100 hours a week, getting so burned out I closed my eyes driving. Like I was so burned out, so detached, and it's like the boundary I had to set was not working at work. It was turning into yelling of, you're the only one who can do it. You have to do it. And when you've got kids coming from all over the world paying cash to get this treatment, it's like, you show up. And so anyways, I'm here like burning out like crazy. And I realized the boundary I need to set is with myself. Like I need to say, I'm just not doing it. And if you fire me, I don't care. Like I can't do this anymore. And they did end up firing me. So, it's, you bring in a couple $1 million and help hundreds of kids and nobody cares. No. And that's how it feels when you get fired, at least initially. But then you realize it's like a wake-up call. It's like a wake-up call of how I was not respecting myself at all. Like, oh my gosh, it's not their fault. They saw how capable I was. It was a compliment. They wanted me to do all these things. You could take it however. But it felt like they were acknowledging my beingness and validating my beingness. And what I've learned is like, work is just a data point, man. Like it's just another data point. And I'm really excited about this new client I have because I feel like they have created an environment of freedom from failure that I've never actually fully felt in a work environment. And I've only been there a couple of weeks, but it's like, It's incredible, and it's palpable. Like, you could tell the culture of the organization is fearless. You know, they might want some direction here or some change there or some feedback, but that's teamwork. And so, you know, it's taken me, how long has it been since then? 11 years, maybe even longer. Man, well, here I am. Aging like a human. No, but it was a while back, and it's like, since then I've set stronger and stronger boundaries, first with myself,
Yeah.
and it's always reverbed out positively in my work environment, where it's like, I just need to do what I need to do first, communicate that. That's when the other comes in, and if there's a lack of connection there, that's a whole other story. But no, the boundary work has been paramount, and you know, we're all doing it all the time. It's just sometimes we're actually like breaking our own boundaries. It's work, but it's like you could go in either direction, and I prefer to, you know, have a nice you know, moat around me that's fresh water, and you can wade through it if you like to, but you have to wade and cool off and get that emotional energy grounded before you come into my space. So that's the new shift.
Well, and you know, you talk about it can be ourself, but I mean, as we've talked about it, you know, all of the boundary work that we got ultimately ends up being on
It
us.
is the self.
Anyway.
It's only one self, Robert. Come on.
But I mean, it took me a long time to learn that. One of the
Sure.
reasons I'm such a champion is because it was so horrible.
Yeah.
in my life before. You know, I've also been terminated, you know, when I was
Sure.
young, and, you know, it's awful.
Yeah.
And, you know, really challenged because I was always like an achiever,
Yeah.
high functioning person. And to have that be like, you know, you're out of here was like, it was awful.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes we learn through those kinds of experiences. And, you know, yeah, there's a lot of resonance with that experience that you had. And we do learn. But, you know, one of the things is that even with such high energy projects, and, you know, all of the various life things that are happening, being able to just see it and be calm about, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do, and it may or may not go the way I want it to.
Yeah.
Has been it's been something I'm like been cheering on the sidelines as I watch, because you actually get to have the life you want when you can walk through it like that.
What I always think of is non-attachment, where it's like, it's not an action, it's a state of being.
Yeah.
And when you are in the present moment, you can't be attached to anything. So it's like layers deeper, where
Okay.
I think for me, the way I would I guess personify or quantify the work that we do together is, I've never been able to keep my presence sustained at this level for this long. And when we're younger, be it in job environments, school, home, when we're still learning how to be a human, we can get conditioned to believe certain things are true that just aren't. And of course, there's a component of truth that is always gray and kind of, you know, that's reality. But I feel when you're in a environment that's uncomfortable and you want to leave and you want to escape, I mean, this is where we see challenges with drug use and dissociative herbs, where it's like, I mean, I love herbalism, I'm all about medicine, but there's ways to escape that in childhood served us and in adulthood don't. And a lot of the work with the subconscious is putting those experiences into a context that you can actually converse with. Like in a very literal sense, like it's a conversational reality you create with your subconscious in order to understand the greater self. So, you know, you've done it, Robert. You're part of the formula here. Like, this is happening.
Well,
and
it's been working really nicely. In fact, actually, I mean, as I'm just gonna like give in to the fact that we're like talking about coaching, because it's because I enjoy the conversation. But while we're on this subject, one of the more profound things you've discovered in the rooms of your psyche is the library.
Hell yeah, man.
at the risk of we're talking to the listeners, but what you've discovered, because you haven't even told me everything that you found there. I just know that you've.
I've gone there so many times without you, Robert. We got our own world now.
Well, it started off with guided imagery, and we just ended. You went upstairs and you found a library. I didn't tell you it was a library. You discovered it, and since then you've gone back to pull out, to describe what it's like, or one visit that you've had there that you haven't told me about yet. Well, I'll just like discover while I'm here with you.
I honestly think Source had me do a meditation this morning. That was so funny. Like, you're gonna love this. Okay, so when I go to the library, the carpet color always changes, and it's like one of the things I use as an indicator for my emotional state. So I'm going up the carpet and it's black, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what the hell, man? Black is pretty. And then the last 3 steps, because the thing I'm really adamant about with the meditation, even though it's challenging, is I always breathe with each step up. So I do really slow breaths as I go higher or lower, because sometimes it does take me down to the basement at my dad's former office, which totally checks out. But this one, it's a house I haven't been to. So I'm going up the stairs, and the top 3 steps were white. And then it turned into like a white and gold carpet. And I was like, times are changing. Yes, right. I was so stoked. Then I'm always watching. I'm like, okay, is the library door open or closed? Because sometimes it's ajar, sometimes it's open or closed. I'm seeing what differences are. It's slightly ajar. It sounds like chill in there, like the fireplaces are going, because there's 2 fireplaces. Sometimes they're on or off. I go in. There were cats everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Like, little schnoopy cats. And they were all just kind of like chilling. And I counted them because I was like, what is going on in here? So I go to the different rooms. There was 1 in the office, 2 in the bedroom, and 5 in the living area, which is the library. So the living area library connects the office and bedroom. I'm sorry, this is getting so complex.
I'm going to need a map at some point, but that's fine. It's your world. It's,
Well, that's, I didn't want to overcomplicate. And the cat, one of them was trying to talk to me. So there's 8 cats total. In the numerology part of Jocelyn, it's like, okay, 8, just going to tuck it away. None of them had really big defining features, except for one in the center that was a calico. And so when I talk to beings in these states, I don't often see their lips move. It's telepathic generally. And so I was just asking this cat a bunch of questions about what's going on at my work, what's going on with my new client, should I buy this house, should I move here? Like, and then he finally is like, all right, like, and I'm like, well, do you have anything else? And he's like, I think this is enough. It's like we went back and forth pretty heavy. And then I just looked around to make sure no one had anything else they had to say, or there were no books sticking out. And then I was done. And so that was it. But I was like, 8 cats. And this is
a lot of cats.
2 or 3 days ago, I had the queen and the cat in there. So it's like,
the queen was in the library.
Yes, she's come twice now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was a pretty big deal, because I was like, okay, enough.
Well,
you messing around. Like,
well, you had made mention that you were interested in having more archetype conversations, and the queen really has stood out a number of times as being a powerful archetype for you. Did she interact with you directly this time, or was it more of like you surveying the world like you did before?
No, so she's been there twice. The first time there was an orange cat who I talked to a little bit, and then I started looping with the cat on my questions, which I know I'm doing right now. And she showed up, and I was like, oh, and she was like, girl, it's over. And it was very simple, and I cried. I did cry, and it was really powerful. And there are times I've gone up to the library where I cried on the steps, and it's like, because my subconscious was trying so hard to speak to me. And that's where sometimes I don't fully understand what's going on in the library. There was one I went in, and there were just like random people dancing in there, and I was like, okay, this is pretty high energy. I'm just gonna kind of clear that space, like have a quick look around, but leave. So it's like, this is my space, but I need to relax, because it was hectic. But it's like, I don't need to take that home. The work is being done.
I love the agency, like that this lasts like 10 seconds. I love the agency of being able to go up, see what's going around in your psyche, and say, well, I'm going to choose not to engage with that.
Yeah.
Like that alone
Yeah.
is a really powerful way of being with your consciousness that used to just run you.
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget the first dream I ever told you about was like I was with some aliens on another planet and we went down like through terrestrial levels down and it was like so much detail, so overwhelming, so many
It was a
characters.
lot.
Yeah, and it's like now I've just enjoyed the observer state. Like I understand it so much better.
Well,
I think
you've
now.
also, I mean, I'm in the process of reading through Man and His Symbols, Jung's last book, which is really providing me a really good overview beyond what I had been studying. And you know, the interesting thing is when you haven't got individuation kicked into gear,
Sure.
and then the psyche's just being kind of this random noise generator, it's useful still, but it's trying to get your attention, which clearly it was. But
Yeah.
once it's got your attention, once you're engaged in the process, then it just kind of calms down a lot. And it's been really interesting to witness
Oh yeah.
your participation in that. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I'm going to be tempted to, like, you know, send you a little analysis of that.
Yes, please do. I need to do like voice memos when they happen.
Well, one of the things is that, and especially that the book with Jung's own language, you know, there is no default interpretation of symbols.
Yeah.
You know, there are typical, well, like snakes. We've talked about snakes, as you know, but one of the things is it's much more about what your interpretation of it is. And yeah, I can do a little bit of reflection, but it's always with a very soft touch.
Yep.
Take what you like, leave the rest. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what shows up from the dream interpreting tools that I have accessible to. But meanwhile, thank you for sharing that. And I also am looking at the clock and I'm realizing that what's happened is what I thought was going to happen. We're just having this delightful romp. But so with your work, where do you see this going? Where do you see, like, kind of, is there a next step or is there a next discovery that's coming?
Sure.
Where are you headed from here?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I know my immediate next steps, from a more purposeful kind of directive trajectory way. I guess where I'm headed is to greater freedom and interconnectedness, which is so funny because that's so dualistic to be like
That's a very interesting combo.
more
Yeah.
freedom and more connectedness, because really connectedness can pull away. And so I think that's what I'm playing with now, and what my future looks like is a greater expansion of my freedom and my connectedness in all the work I do. The Reiki retreat I have with Ife Tayo in the fall is going to be exceptional when it comes to just cultivating a resonance of interconnectivity and greater empowerment, person empowerment. And then with Surgo Health, I'm very excited. It's very new for me. This is a new company, a new opportunity. And what excites me most is solving a problem I have recognized has existed in healthcare since I started at 14 years old, working in a pharmacy as a technician in a, podunk town in upstate New York, between two cow farms, like very small, at the peak of the opioid epidemic,
Oh, wow.
working in the pharmacy at 14 years old. Like, it was intense, man. And what Surgo is doing is empowering communities to lead the healthcare decisions that are made on behalf of them by health systems and payers. And so my hope on the business development team is to bring the human voice to healthcare, in a way that I haven't seen done. I see no greater opportunity for change in a quick and meaningful way using technology. So I'm stoked. I can't wait to see what happens with that. I can't wait to see what happens with Reiki and teaching, which is always going to be a component of my reality. And then, little coaching contracts, working with students, working with people developing smaller projects is always something I enjoy. So we'll see what happens, man. That's the trajectory. Who knows?
Well,
what's the best that could happen? Yeah.
I love, I mean, it's funny because you say like you don't know, but meanwhile, everything that you just said had such intention behind it. And it also is like, this is why I do what I do, because I do what I do to support you and people like you that are like lit up about helping things that are going to make a difference.
Yep.
And you just very succinctly laid out several powerful ways in which this is what you're doing, this is what you're calling, and you're not attached to it, so you're not bound.
Yeah.
That's how you can be connected and free.
Mm-hmm.
Non-attachment is the answer. I'm just sorry, it's just coming out like right now, but you know, does that land?
100%.
Yeah.
No,
So
and that's yeah. We're on the same page as usual.
that's not a super surprising thing.
Yeah.
So my point is that lights me up to be able to be of support for you in doing that work that is then uplifting and supporting other things that the world really needs.
Mm-hmm.
And more as I go down my journey, as I'm discovering myself as I go, I'm sort of like laying the road as I'm driving sometimes,
Yep.
as are you, my friend. You're not alone. Like that's how it's rolling out. And I get to, like, I'm retired. I don't have to do this. I'm doing this because I can.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to have met you and be able to like connect regularly. And I love watching the work you're doing, the peace you're finding, and the difference you're making. And I'm really grateful that you were able to spend this time chatting with me.
Yes, 100%, man.
So before we wind this all down, how would people reach you if they were interested in any of your various modalities, or if they wanted to talk to you? I kind of warned you that I was going to put you on the spot. How would people reach you? What are the ways to reach you?
Sure. I mean, I'm pretty available. So if you find me somehow, feel free to reach out, whatever corner of the earth that is. But usually I'm most active with messages on Instagram. I know you'll provide a link. And then LinkedIn, I'm pretty active on, especially as it relates to the impact of the projects I'm working on. So that's fun to see if you're interested in anything I mentioned. And then I'll also provide a cell phone number if anyone wants to connect directly, just because, you know, sometimes it's easiest to just ask a question via cell or email. So anytime, any place, I'll just ignore you if I'm busy. I always tell everyone that, because it's like, if I am off grid, I am off grid. You might never hear from me. Feel free to reach out. I don't know if I'm going to be there.
Because this is a woman who has boundaries.
No, and this is, if you try all 4 modalities, I'm sure someone will let me know if I'm not connected to those things. But usually I'm plugged into reality at least every couple days. So give each other some grace when it comes to digital, man. I think we take it all a little too seriously.
Well, I think anybody that is meant to reach out to you is also going to be able to be a little patient.
Yeah, that's true.
About doing that. Well, I'll go ahead and do my part, which I have to do intentional, but you know, for those that need to know, I'm Robert Haynes. I am a certified Jungian life coach, and my joy is to help helpers to follow their own advice, to get out of their own way and to help the world that is theirs to help. Jocelyn is an excellent example of the kind of people that I love to work with. And Jocelyn, thank you so very much for being on Design Review.
Thanks, Robert. I hope I passed.